Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Nahmaduhu wa nasalli ala rasulihil kareem. Dear brothers and sisters in Islam, welcome to our Simplified Hajj series part 4, where today we'll discuss ihram. What is ihram? How does one enter an ihram? And how does one protect the ihram? This is going to be our discussion today. So first and foremost, when we ask someone, what is ihram? Or what is your thoughts of ihram? Many people believe that ihram are 2 sheets of clothing, or a change of attire from what one is accustomed to wearing on a day-to-day basis for the sisters. This is actually a partial description of the entirety of ihram. Ihram, my dear friends, is a state one enters into by making forbidden those things which are lawful outside of the state of ihram for 2 key purposes. Number 1, to realize that if we can cut off temporarily from those habitual practices that we do on a day-to-day basis for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then we can empower ourselves to cut off from those deeds and acts which too may be habitual, but they cause a displeasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So ihram teaches us to make haram on us something for a short span of time so that we can empower ourselves to believe that we can totally let go of haram with the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and with determination from ourselves. Number 2 is so that we can engross in our connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we can dive into the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that we are willing to set aside all our comforts and all those things that we're accustomed to only because we love our Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So ihram is a state one enters into for a greater purpose. And ihram, the sheets and the clothing, is only one part of it. And today we want to talk about how one person enters into ihram. So first and foremost, purification is the first step. And if a person, as we spoke about in our last series, as you can refer to in the book on page 35 about ihram, is if a person is traveling to Saudi Arabia directly or indirectly, purity is something that a person will have to do either before embarking on the journey or somewhere along the way. The best route is when we are at our houses, before departing our houses to the airport, let us take one nice shower in which we'll make the intention for ihram, that we are washing ourselves and purifying ourselves for the sake of ihram, in the course of which, if we need to cut our nails and cleanse ourselves as we would do for our Friday ghusl, let us do just that. Now, if a person during the course of the journey has a second opportunity to take a shower at a specific airport and they feel they want to, they can do so. And if they don't, then ablution will suffice. And for places where people have no water or there's difficulty or shortage of water, then of course Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us the facilitation of tayammum in the Holy Quran, which is also accessible and usable at this scenario also. So number 1 was purity, to purify oneself. Number 2 is enshrouding oneself with the sheets for the men or wearing specific garments for the sisters. Let's begin with the sisters. The sisters don't have many requirements at all. For the sisters, they can wear everything they're accustomed to wearing on a day-to-day basis, so long it is modest and it covers the entire body. More preferably the burqa or the abaya, which covers the entire body, and the hijab, of course. There is no restriction on socks or footwear for the sister. The only restriction is that their face should not be covered with a cloth that touches it, or their hands should be covered. These are the 2 restrictions for them. As for the brothers, they have to wear 2 sheets of cloth, which entails nothing else. There is no undergarments, there is no under t-shirt, and there is no socks or gloves or hats allowed for the brothers during the state of ihram. And when it comes even down to the minutest details of footwear, they cannot wear the conventional shoes that they're accustomed to wearing. They will have to wear specific type of footwear which keeps the upper bone of the foot and the ankles exposed at all time. Traditionally, the flip-flops are used just for that. So a person, after purifying themselves, will enshroud themselves or wear the ihram cloth. And there is a specific procedure for that, and we'll talk about that in our next video.